Back at it again.
No, I'm not doing that. Not doing that. Not doing that. How many times are we gonna do that goddamn joke and it falls? Anyways, that's criminal.
This is awkward.
Oh yes, that's right. And then I
You got so irate about the intro and then reluctantly forgot to do the intro.
messed it up. I messed it up again. So
This
is
is
not analysis.
This is Arc Analysis. This
is Arc Analysis. Sex Criminals, Volume 2. 2 Worlds, 1 Cop. Great title. Great title. Great. I'll start there. Great title. Published by Image Comics, written by Matt Fraction, drawn by Chip Zdarsky.
Do not just Google the title.
No, please.
Google Sex Criminals.
Google the title.
And then the title. Or Fraction and Zdarsky. No.
Yeah.
That should have been scrubbed by the internet by this point. Did you watch it?
Bits and pieces, yeah. I remember one time. So I remember like I was at a party one time. Because what year was this?
What party you watching? I don't know what year. But
no, and this a friend of mine was like, hey, look at this. And he just flashed his phone at me, and it was just 2 girls licking a cup of shit, and I was like, oh, okay, that's all.
No, I saw it to the end because I need to know.
If you watched the whole thing?
Yeah, I need to know if they consumed it all, and they do.
They do?
They do.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Apparently, though, it's coming out now that wasn't even real. Like, it was like
something that makes the most sense because I don't know how your body will reject.
Yeah,
what eating fecal matter. We're not dogs. We can't just look for the good stuff in it.
Did this rub or it was just like chocolate ice cream?
They take it down, but your mind is already steadfast on the fact that like you should not be taking that down. So,
yeah.
And then again, I thought I was going to see more boobs, but no.
It was literally just the 2 girls eating it the whole time.
I thought it was going to turn into something. I mean,
no, wasn't there a part where it's like coming out too? Yeah, because that's another part I saw was this. Yeah, and that was enough for me. I was like, don't
Google it. You're not missing anything. Even if we've broken the lore and found out it's fake, it's still not. You're not going to be happy with the memory of knowing that you watched it.
You watched the whole thing by yourself?
No, we had a party.
Or was it like, oh, look at this. This is funny.
No. I listen. I don't know how men can watch pornography together unless it's in the background, let's say a stag show or something like that. But like, I had friends who were like, "Come over and watch this tape." I was like,
"What? Someone said that to you before?"
Yes. I don't go into details of that story, but I don't know how you
get the deal. I just didn't know that's never had that often before.
Again, there's that I didn't invite you. There's a section of dudes that want to watch pornography together, and I do not get that. And it's definitely a personal thing for me. Like, just like when I do enjoy pornography, it's usually myself. The one good times I do get to enjoy it with somebody else, it's a woman, and like love those.
Making your own and watching it back. Hey. Now we're talking.
Completely different lane that I love to be a part of. But the art of like 2 young adolescent prepubescent boys going through puberty and watching, nope.
And it's unironic too. It's not like it's
not funny. There's not like a joke in it. It's not
you're watching it to do the.
It's not a sex scene built into a movie that's really good. You're like, oh, it's not an actress that you like. I can't believe she finally revealed her titties. Right? No, No, this is hardcore. Do you want to check out this tape?
That's funny.
Do you want to give me this tape so I can go check out this tape? No.
Yeah.
You come on.
Do you want to tell me the title so that like
Well, again, this is before like internet, right? We still VHSing, right? Everything was.
Oh, I think this was more like recent. This is like young. You said
we're in our late 30s. No, I'm not. Except I'm not a friend with anybody who's still asking me to come over and watch it. Sir,
I don't know, man. I don't know the friends you keep.
Fair enough. That is
I told you at the podcast I've been listening to. Nothing surprises me now.
He is not one of the friends I've kept. I will give you that. Yeah. But even at a young age, I was like, nah, this is still not. What's the best scenario here? Like we both get hard, and we're like, all right, cool.
See his dick, yeah. That's
I'm go hard. You took it there. I didn't say that. I was just saying.
No, but that's the scenario, right? That's
You can get into the mind of a monster because those are the podcasts you're listening to. I choose to stay in my mind, which is not of monster, and thought, no, this is weird. This is as far as I go with pornography with friends. feel free to let me rent a tape. I'll let you rent a tape. And again, I'm saying tapes, VHS, so you, not late '90s, early aughts. And then LimeWire killed us all because viruses and
Oh,
got
gave all our computers AIDS.
yeah,
All of it.
we got greedy. We thought the world was ours. Nope.
What were the ones? There's Napster, BearShare, LimeWire.
LimeWire,
Was there another one? I feel like there's another one. Those are the three that
maybe.
I.
But then there was early stages of torrenting. So, and I didn't
Right,
get on that
right.
ship. So,
Yeah, torrents, and then torrents took off, and now it's just like,
didn't look back.
yeah, yeah, because you still, I still torrent sometimes today. So,
Legally,
of course,
allegedly,
allegedly, legally,
League of Nations.
patent pending.
In coke and dang fashion, if we're talking about everything.
So it's funny. I was trying to actually look at what year this was because I know it's 2013 when it started, but it's volume 2, so I was making sure it's the same year. Let's just call it 2013. Okay.
Sure.
Now we just went on that tangent of like
before the 13th.
Yeah. About
A
porn
cup.
with company. Yeah.
And a cup of feces to be consumed. They started it. I'm blaming
They did. Yeah, they
did.
They did. Two Worlds, One Cup. Still great title. Good title. So this is picking up from where they were running away from the sex police in the first volume, because we did the first volume way back.
And we loved that first volume. We loved that first volume.
It was fun.
So original. A lot
they
of
find themselves
plants. Sorry.
Yeah, there was. They find themselves in a dilemma because they're being tracked whenever they're in Cumtown / the Quiet, whatever you want to call it.
Cum World.
If you aren't, is it Cum World? I thought it was Cumtown.
No,
wow, I wrote Cumtown. I did something wrong. If you're not familiar with sex criminals, it's a couple that when they orgasm, time stops, and they're able to do things outside of the barrier of time, like poop in your boss's plants or rob banks.
Yep.
But in this volume, it ended. The last volume ended with the sex police finding them, which are people that also live in this time displaced dimension, and was trying to regulate them going in there.
Who also get through orgasms, right? There's no other way to this time place without orgasming, right? Which is the kind of cool hiccup that is weird, but the pull of the comic.
So we get to meet some more people. Yeah, Kegel Face is the main sex police person. But we get some more backstory on John here, and we get to meet other people who can enter. I'm going to call it Cum World. Cum World.
It's Cum World.
Yeah.
Cum Town. Think bigger, buddy.
I don't know why I wrote that. That's my notes. My note-taking ability is floundering.
I mean, to be honest, this wasn't a great follow-up coming out from where we started. So all those original ideas about not only orgasming and what fun you can have by yourself orgasming and when time stops what you can do, but this couple finding each other and the 1 in a million, 1 in a billion levels of not only did I find someone that I like, but can also enter the same spot. So like that was kind of the cliffhanger and the pull from the original arc. The second arc that we're reading right now and talking about kind of meanders and doesn't really introduce anything new on top of that original theme. So you get a lot of the same sort of beats, and it doesn't make you like the characters anymore because they're just going through the motions. So I don't know if that was by choice, right? Like in any relationship, you're going to have those moments where shit isn't working out, and definitely the couple's not working out, right? Like this is the peak of everything going against them, right? I can't remember her name, but she's losing her bookstore. Banks foreclosing. John, is that his name?
Susie and John, yeah.
John is leaving his job, but now it's decided that he's kind of going to be a vigilante and push back not only against his previous employer, but the sex police, right? So it doesn't really, for me, it doesn't start picking up until the final 2 issues.
The last one. Yeah, that's what you said. It meanders. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Sure.
Where this volume just slows to a crawl. And I don't usually have a problem with slow comics as long as the things that are being developed are interesting. But like you were also saying, there's strain on the relationship.
Yep.
but at the same time, they're giving us backstory for these characters.
Sure.
And I don't think we need to do both at once because I was getting annoyed with the how the story kept stopping and
Yeah.
then reversing. Oh, here's John's backstory, and then it's going to stop and let's reverse and give some more backstory. I was like, what's going on now? I want to know what's going on now.
Yeah, like his whole yearbook story about like how he discovered when he was a kid and like no pictures got
Like,
developed. It's hilarious, but like didn't be as long. That's like two
yeah,
panels at the most. But like I
yeah,
jacked off too much, and because I jacked off so much, none of the pictures got developed in the dark room.
fine.
Hilarious. We can
Yeah.
move on. But he spends time talking about like how this process ruined this and kind of. So if you're trying to build in like how much him ejaculating just crippled his kind of sense of reality, sure, but you did that in the first run. So what are you telling me that's going to help to like what you're saying in the present time, which is basically we ain't got no money and now we got people after us for what we keep doing.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's certain moments where it feels like a strain to read, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't because
Yeah.
they're still fun, they're still cute, there's still something there that I want to attach to.
Because the strain they're having in their relationship is very real,
Yeah,
right? Like we've all been in relationships where things aren't really working and you don't know why and you're trying to figure out why this person was super super fun and attractive like 2 months ago and now it's just like I don't know, and that's interesting, and they kind of explore that a little bit, but
hmm
it slowing down because they keep changing perspective, they keep breaking the fourth wall, which I thought I got a little too much in this. I'm like, okay, can we just focus on one thing? Let's do the relationship or do the backstories, but we don't need to keep a little bit of the relationship issues and then story progression and then we stop. And here's backstory on John, just like you're saying, bunch of pages that could have been 3 panels
better served somewhere
or
else.
just one whole issue on just backstory. Like I don't
It's
know.
kind of amazing how many of their little charms and sparks that worked in the first arc just fall flat by the time you read them
Yeah,
again. It's
isn't
just
that
like, oh,
weird?
like
Yeah,
I give me something else now, right? Like you can't keep going back the same dick joke, which is essentially what they do. And then he poops in the plan again. I was like, this was funny the first time,
yeah.
but like you have actual threats going on. So I don't know if this was the dip in order to climb up the hill for the next arc. But that's a terrible way to write, I think, personally,
Mhm.
especially with such an amazing idea. And the fact that you built in the fact that these two characters keep operating outside of time, but now you know that there's time police. So there is a ticking time clock because these people are coming for you. So I don't know if you had to strike like lengthen that final issue where it talked more about like, okay, here's plan B, here's what we're gonna do now, or figure out other characters, or just if it was just them in the cum world talking about their relationship, that at least would have been something that progressed who they were as characters. Every time they went back to the cum world in this arc, it's just John doing what John did in the first arc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like I like how they're out of sync too, so like he would come faster than she would, so she'd get
That was
stuck.
interesting. Yeah.
I was like, okay, you could play with that a little more, right? But
Mhm.
no. Um
But what was going on with
it leans more to John than Susie, which is
the,
unfortunate.
they also discovered the tracker, which confused me. Remember the tracker that the sex police had
Sure.
on them? It would beep, but was it only tracking them when they were in calm world, or was it tracking them all the time? Because it
I
was beeping all the time.
I assumed it's all the time, right? You want to know where they are all points of the day,
So then
but
why didn't they just destroy it or give it to someone? I don't know. I was confused with that whole thing because
I don't know if it's you don't want them to know that you know that they're watching you, sort of thing.
right.
And for me, the payout's not really until the final issue where he finally come worlds on Kegel face and goes to her house, and then so like when they start reading about Jasmine St. Clair and like her
Mhm,
story, like that was
mhm.
good.
No, Jasmine Saint Cocaine,
My mistake,
based on Jasmine Saint Clair.
Claire. Yeah, I've been watching too many tapes. Clearly, we're getting her whole backstory, and
Lovely, lovely Jasmine Saint Clair.
we weren't we didn't know who she was until it got to a certain point, right? So you're just reading about, and I thought it was Susie, and then it's like, oh no, it's not Susie. It's a different color hair, different
Yeah,
style, and like different ages and stuff.
yeah, that's what I thought. So you thought that was Susie's backstory at
Yeah,
first,
and it's
right?
like,
Yeah,
well,
so did I. Okay,
this doesn't make any sense to
okay.
the
I thought.
Susie that I thought we were getting because
Okay, go ahead.
they're kind of, I don't want to say they're the same, but they're kind of drawn similarly, and because we get shortchanged of Susie, I think in this arc that she becomes a surrogate for that other woman. So this is a weird type of thing that happens in comics, right? Or this type of comics. It's supposed to be two people meeting one and they have a shared story. But because they lean so heavy on John, it's two people coming together and going as one, but then they lean heavy on John again and Susie falls to the wayside, right? So I don't know if they care much about her in this issue because all she really does is bitch about them not getting off at the same time, which obviously you would want to. Complain about losing her bookstore because there's a moment where he saves it and like somehow she gets a phone call and like, okay, we'll give you the loan. And she's happy, and then they call back like I guess 15 minutes later after John does something stupid, and they're like, oh no, we're defaulting on your loan. You can't get it. You lose your bookstore, and then they go to the Cum World, and then she goes to gets to see like basically all her books on the curb kind of shit. Like she lost the store, so like we don't and like her talk to her friend. So I learned more about her friend. And then there's this one moment where she's thinking about like that. That was the best issue for me, I guess, where she's thinking about leaving John, and she goes to the gynecologist,
Mhm.
and they talk about like labias and like she's got a perfect circle. Like I laughed at all that
That
shit.
was really funny. That when he had all the students come in and
Yeah,
check on
it's
her
like
cooch. Yeah,
and like her and you forget how funny and charming she is until she's in moments like that where like it's a completely awkward situation where she has basically like a 1 in a million type of vagina that it has a perfect circle for the not the vulva the
circumference.
yeah, but I can't remember what technical term of inside of her vagina has the perfect circle that her
Mhm.
gynecologist is like, wow, this is amazing, like you're perfect, and she's like, oh, she's flirting a little because she likes the attention from this new guy, but then he clicks back into professionalism. Is like, can I show my students this because
Yeah.
like they'll never get a chance to see this. So one by one, like there's a long line of students coming in and just basically like feeling her coochie up in the
Yeah,
most professional of doctor
really
ways.
funny. Yeah,
And the way that she gets to play it is the reason why you love Susie. Like she's so charming, but you don't get that for like 3 issues. So she falls to the wayside, which sucks. And then her best friend comes in, and there's this whole like double dating. Can we? Am I gonna take a chance on a new guy? Am I still in this relationship? And it kind of works itself out. Like that's one of the charms of the book, which was I thought they're just gonna explore different levels of dating with these guys
yeah,
that have superpowers. You didn't need to add all this extra stuff. The extra stuff's kind of fun, but when you just go back to John and resort him back to like the atypical kind of just when he's jerking off himself, he sucks. But when he's in a relationship, he's at least trying. So there's moments where he's just jerking off by himself, and it sucks. Like this wasn't a good arc. Like it's
yeah.
no surprise we're gonna end up saying that we didn't like this, but it's because you faulted on so many things that we did like, and the stuff that you tried to use again didn't hit as strong as it did when we first read it. So
No, yeah.
it's
There's a lot
weird.
of soul searching. There's a lot of like analysis of John, like his, which I didn't really.
Care
I
about
personally didn't care about. I was like,
nope.
yeah, he got anxiety and stress, and I was like,
No,
okay, well,
you
no
got the
offense, I don't.
girl. You both have superpowers.
No offense, I don't care. Like, can we
Yep.
just? I want to explore what you guys are doing together and how
Correct.
you're going to get away from these sex police, not the
But
arguments. But
and that doesn't happen until the final issue. Then he's like, okay, I have a plan, and then you kind of get this little push of. So his plan is like, I'm going to go steal all the basically files from
yeah,
Keylface.
like you're saying, he goes into Comworld, and then he's so mad about everything about Susie losing her bookstore and stuff that he breaks into Kiko's face's home,
Right.
ends up fighting the bus driver there with like those big dildos, which was kind of
Yes.
funny.
Yes.
But the point of that is he finds a filing cabinet that's full of everybody who can enter Comworld. So he
Correct.
has a whole list of people, and they're like him and Susie are like, excuse me, blown away because there's so many of them,
Yes.
and they find one
So
who
many.
is Jasmine Saint Cocaine, and they end up tracking her down
Right.
and like talking to her, and then we find out that she can enter Comworld, but it's like a different way,
Yes.
which is kind of that's interesting. I was like, that's cool.
She comes in as like a glowing ghost, so it's like it's metaphysical
Yeah.
for her.
And it's hard for her to get there. She has
Yes,
to be focused in the right state of mind. Like I was like, okay, this is levels. This is kind of cool.
because she was an adult star, like she's been
Around the block.
well satisfied so many different ways that it takes more to get her to the
Yeah.
point of orgasm, right? Which makes sense, right? Like, listen, you ride a tire. I mean, you ride a bike so much, your wheels are gonna lose tread. I'm trying to stay on the level as much as possible. As
Yeah.
not, we're gonna descend into madness just because it's kind of the book's built this way. So I liked kind of the side characters that they're introducing. Even again, Doctor Rainbow, what's his name? Robert Rainbow. The word
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
cervix. I couldn't think of cervix.
Oh, cervix. Yeah. I
She's
should
a
know that
perfect cervix. Yeah.
too.
We should know this, but clearly we were not paying attention.
Circumference?
Yeah. we were close. We were circling the drain.
Yeah.
But all the people they introduce are nice, but there shouldn't be filler for the people that we're supposed to care about. And in this run, we definitely don't care about John anymore. And then Susie gets shortchanged into the final two issues, which sucks, right? So apparently there's a plan, or they're formulating a plan. I liked how they had to go to a hotel and they all wanted to meet in Come World, but they had to do that separately, and
Yeah, that was funny. That
they had
was
to figure out
awkward.
they had to time it and the texting, and like they would text typos because obviously their hands are busy and doing different things. So like I liked all that awkward stuff. It's weird. All the awkward sex kind of fumbling relationship stuff is the
It's
stuff
fun.
I want to read the most.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, that's firsthand experiences. Sex hasn't been perfect for any of us off the bat, unless you're that one porn star king that's just like I'm a stud, or queen, I'm a studess, right? Everyone else like has funny stories or just like awkward stories, or like I wish I knew this back then. And I felt like that's what the charm of this book could have been. Just a lot of little life lessons peppered into a relationship on top of like, oh no, but then we get to go to Come World and we're kind of like superheroes, right?
Yeah.
But with 3 issues just John jerking off again and like self self-deprecating, and like I thought he already got past this when he got in a relationship, right? I thought you got over this. He didn't. So I'll say it again, like the book meanders, which sucks because there's so much to like about
The
that
back end of it, yeah.
the back end and what we read initially. I still remember what I
From the first volume, yeah.
well, when you first sent this to me, like, what is this? And it's called Sex
Yeah.
Criminals. And just going through, I was like, oh my, this is hilarious and so ingenious. And you can go so many different ways with it.
And then this is the way they go.
So I don't know.
You could have skipped some stuff there. Because I do like that how he does find the list and he's like, all right, let's go track these. Because his whole plan is like, let's track as many people as we can down and we'll take on the sex police together because they have no jurisdiction. They're not real police. They're just a bunch of dickheads that are.
Yeah.
One of them has money. That one rich guy, Badal. I can't remember his first name.
Oh,
but
yeah.
some Badal. He's the money, right?
Yeah. We find out where the money is. That was good.
So there's Badal, there's Keagleface, and there's a bus driver, right?
Yeah.
They're the three. They're the three. Yeah.
That we know
the
so
three
far.
sex police that we know so far. So yeah, John's like, let's get everybody together and we'll just. So the first step is Jasmine St. Cocaine, who just happens to be his favorite porn star.
Right.
And there's funny interactions with how like they explore jealousy too.
Correct.
She's like,
I don't care about this chick. And she's like, I love her. Like, this is amazing. We should go to her first. It's like, why her? Like, I know her so much. And there's the interesting stuff, even with the therapist, right? Like, I'm scrolling through. I was like, I like that stuff, but that should have got front loaded. Like,
yeah, but that wasn't. I don't know. And then like they go on a quote unquote date for coffee, but then John and then her friends show up, and then they just kind of like work out how like if I was the gynecologist, I'd be like, the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? Like, because her friend shows up and then Susie goes off with John. And that's kind of like, what is
there's
that?
Backstory. Like Rob and John were friends from kids, and then you get some of his backstory.
No, I get it, but it like
sexual function. It's not explained, but at least something's progressing. Like it took 4 issues before something progresses, so it sucks, but at least it's something new that you could bite onto. For me, it was the same thing with the therapist. The 4th issue, he's talking to his original therapist. It's not working. He goes to the food court, screams out, and he starts talking to another guy.
That was funny. Yeah.
He's like, get your own damn chicken fingers, right? It's the best goddamn chicken. And they're going off on that. And then you get to see him start to work out what an actual therapist that would match him would look like. All that stuff could have been front loaded to the first 2-3 issues, right? Like, get me into him doing better and progressing as opposed to falling through the same sort of wheel that was his downfall in the first run, right? So it's weird how much you had to dump on the back half because there's so many fun ideas that you could have stretched out. Like if there's an entire issue of the gynecologist and then the double date, maybe it would have made more sense. But because it's already layered on so many different things, we don't really get to see it's come to fruition. I think Robert's going to come back at some point.
It's a lot of nothing, really. It's like it's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but none of it I really am interested in until they get into. Anyways, we've said the same thing a few times now. Would you read a third one? Do you want to read this third volume to this?
Based on what you said, it's a whole lot of nothing, and it's weird. We've read books that have nothing, and they have to talk about a whole bunch of nothing because they don't know how to get from point A to point B. This actually has something going on for it. So I'm so confused and still, I guess, interested in like what you're building for it. Like I've said this before, it can't get worse than this. Like if this is the worst because we just had to get whatever reason out for these first 3 issues to get to like something else, it's got to be better.
Yeah,
And they still have that. They still have that original idea. So yeah, I'd come back to this.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way based off the team that's writing or creating this, and just like you said, the premise.
I really, I really
Super
hope.
interesting.
I really hope the third volume is front loaded with Susie more though. Like she's now the favorite. I don't really want to hear a lot from John. He's kind of a fuck up. And if he's going to therapy, that's only going to help you.
But on a scale, we don't. So we rate these on a boom or bad basis. Boom for good, ba for bad, and whoosh for what I just read. Dank, my friend. I give this a ba.
Yeah, this is easy ba.
Yeah. So, but I agree. I would still read a third one.
So are we calling this soft ba then? Because
it's just a ba. It's just
hard.
I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to read it again. But I mean, if there are books where you read the next step and you're like, it kind of makes everything before it a little better.
It's the idea, the premise, and the writing team, and the artwork's still great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so good from the original that you want to see it pay out. So I'd read the next arc to see if it pays out. If it's worse than this, then what did you guys do? But can't get worse, right?
Oh, I hope not. Or we're watching some porn together.